Hey guys, and welcome to the Runners Strength and Mobility Program. I'm just going to take you through a few little things just before you kick off the program. On the first day of each month in the program, you're going to have some testing to do. And this testing is aimed to make sure that you're progressing and improving in the key joints and regions that you need as a runner to not only optimize your running, but to make sure that your strength and resilience in some of those key regions, such as the foot, ankle, knee, hip, and spine, and core, are progressing in the right way. So there's a few little tests we're going to run through. I'll pop it up, a little graphic over here. And you can just check on what the targets are. Now, these targets are generally quite high. The goal is not necessarily that you're able to do it right now, or that you'll have it achieved in 4 or 6 weeks. Sometimes it'll take 12 weeks or 6 months or even a year. It takes as long as it takes. But these are the targets we aim for. Now I'm going to take you through some of the testing videos, which you can watch shortly, and I'll give you a few options if you are unable to perform those tests. But what I really suggest is that you write down your result each month. You record them. It's worthwhile taking videos of yourself doing them as well, because sometimes we can also look at the quality of the test and how well you're doing it there. But have some way just to record your results at least, so each month in the program you can see your progress. So I'll take you over to the exercise instructional videos now, and if you have questions on any of them, you can always flick me a message through the app as well. Ability test, very simple. We just need a ruler or some markers on the floor. We're going to come into a half kneeling position. And our goal here is to find the point where our knee touches the wall, the furthest point where the knee touches the wall without the heel coming off the ground. We're going to keep our heel firmly grounded as we work our way back until we find that point. For me, it's probably not far off this. So it's around here, I would say, where my heel is just coming off the ground. And we can take a little measure from there. And so I've got about 12 centimeters on my right. And then to save a bit of time, you can actually just start on the measurement of your first one. So my left, I know, is a little bit stiffer, so I'm not going to get that range. So 12 on my right. Now I'm just going to wiggle my way forward. And that's about it there. On my left, you can see the fat pad just coming off a little bit. And I'm about 9 on my left. So just take a little marker off that. Now I have the hamstring bridge test. So for this test, we want to find a chair or a bench. And we are going to get about 110, 120 degree angle at the leg. We are doing one-legged version, and this is what it looks like. So toes pointing up to the ceiling. We're driving through our heel, and we're going to go all the way up into full hip extension and back down. Ideally, arms across your chest, just so we can't use those arms. And we are basically doing as many reps as we can to achieve that. Just to show you on the other side, in case there are anything you could miss, you can see, you're going to go with your toes pointing upwards, hands across your chest, knee at about 110 to 120 degrees, all the way up, all the way down in a nice controlled fashion. You should feel the hamstring work very hard. Now, if you struggle, if you can't do a single leg for whatever reason, or you can really only knock out 1 or 2 reps, just do a double leg hamstring test. So both legs on the ground, up and down, and you'll just do a rep max there. Do as many as you can in one go, and then over time through the program, you'll most likely then be able to get into the single leg version of the test. So the next test we have is the single leg sit to stand test. Very simple test. We're going to find a bench or a box or a chair that's roughly around knee height. So when we sit down, our knees and our hips are roughly at 90 degrees. This bench is probably just a drop too high, but honestly, we don't have to be too obsessive over the angles. We want roughly 90 degrees, plus or minus a bit is fine. What we're looking for in this test is we want good alignment, foot, knee, hip, and torso. And we're going to go hands on hips, and we're going to sit down and stand back up. We're looking for good control and good balance. If we lose balance, and we have to put our foot down, that's one warning. If we do that twice, that's where we finish the test. And we're going to do as many as we can on the left then on the right, with the target of getting 20 to 25 repetitions on each side. If you struggle with this, if you have knee pain or you just can't do the test at all, just start with a sit down only. So you could simply just sit down on one leg and stand up on two and see how many you could do. Alternatively, you could just change the height. So if you need to lift the chair up, if you can really only knock out 1 or 2 reps due to balance or pain or whatever it might be, just find a height that you can do a few, and over the period of the program, you can slowly lower it down as well. So we've now got the single leg calf raise test. The calves are probably one of the most appreciated muscle groups for runners, but they are absolutely pivotal. They take about 6 to 8 times your body weight every step you take. So the stronger they are, the more efficient a runner you'll be. So we're going to do a little calf raise off a step. That little step, ideally, we want something that's about 2 finger widths up. And the reason we want to make sure it's done down to the ground off a step and not off like a normal step in your house, for example, is because we want to make sure we're getting that constant depth. So find something that's around 2 centimeters, little plank of wood, something like that usually works well. In the clinic, I often get people to use a 10-kilo plate. And what we're going to do is we're going to stand on one leg, starting with our heel at the bottom, light pressure into the wall, and we're going to do as many reps as we can, controlling up and controlling down. Full range of motion. The goal here is to get around 20 to 25, like most of the other tests. Nice and simple. We want good rhythm to it as well. If you can't do single leg because of pain again, or range issues or anything along those lines, you can very well just do a double leg calf raise, which is exactly the same. So we want to make sure that our feet here are parallel. In fact, I'll show you from this angle here. Feet are parallel. We're going right up without losing our balance, as high as we can, and as controlled on the way down as well. A common mistake I'll see with this test for both the single leg and double leg version is people not controlling the down. So when they come down, they kind of just drop down. What I really want you to focus on is all the way up, control your body weight down. All the way up, control your body weight down. We want to see symmetry as well for this one, of course. So we're roughly within like 10%. So if you're hitting 20 on one, we want to see you around 18 or so on the other if there's a discrepancy there. But again, we want to check these numbers over the course of the program. We should hopefully see them go higher and higher. So coming up next is the dreaded plank test. So this is a core endurance test. As a runner, especially if we're doing longer distance, but even for relatively shorter distance running wise, we know that we need some good ability to hold our posture and some good core endurance. So the plank test is just an absolutely pivotal test. It's very simple. We are just doing this for time, so we're basically holding the plank position for as long as we can. And we actually call the time when we get to what we call technical failure, which is when and if you start to kind of wiggle your bum around or you have to kind of shift your weight a little bit. We want to make sure you are as plank-like for as long as possible, and as soon as you lose that real stiff plank with no movement, that's where the test finishes. So a couple little things on our setup. We want our elbow under our shoulders. We want our toes curled into the ground. We're simply going to come up into a plank position, and we want to be squeezing our quads, our glutes, and our core gently. So we're really a stiff plank. And we're going to be holding this position right over there. We don't want our bum up in the air. Likewise, we don't want to be kind of doing a hammock motion with our pelvis down on the ground. We want somewhere in the middle so we have a flat position all the way through. Focus on breathing. The target for this test is 90 seconds. If you are struggling or can't hold the plank for very long at all, you can very simply just place your knees on the ground. So instead of having your toes, you could simply just go through your plank with your knees on the ground, and throughout the program, as you get better, you can start to progress into the actual plank. Real tough test. Getting over 90 seconds is the target, and ultimately you just go for as long as you can. If you get up to 2 minutes or more, that's fantastic. You want to see progression on that throughout